Hello and welcome to the Coach Your Kids Right podcast. I am Skip LaCour. I'm so glad you are joining me for this episode of the Coach Your Kids podcast. If you are the parent of a child 5 to 8 years old, you want them to become a great athlete. You want to help support them. Give them the best opportunity to be a great athlete right from the start. Right from the start. And when you really are focusing on this adventure, this journey, this odyssey of practicing and all the mental and physical challenge and getting along with other people that comes along with youth sports, you really are focused on those personal development lessons that come along the way so they're strong in every area of life. The confidence they earn through sports, and they take that confidence to every area of their life. If that's the way you view sports, you're just like me. You're going to love the things that we talk about every single episode of the Coach Your Right, Kids Right podcast. Hey, leave your comments in the comment section. You can reach out to me if you have any questions or things you want me to talk about. You want to get my point of view. I'm going to be here for you for a lot of conversation. All right. So here we go. Let's talk about today's podcast. It's about that confidence. It's about personal development. It's confidence in layman's term. You won't be this personal development junkie, obsessed with it for 35 years. I use that term, personal development. Confidence is something we all know we want for our children. You earn confidence by what you do. That's why we have this. That's why we do these sports, right? So confidence on and off the field. Unleashing confidence through body language. Body language is what I want to talk about today. So let me tell you a little bit more about me and how I became so focused on bodybuilding, and then what led me to be so focused on body language and all those intangibles. All right, and then with my young children, why I talked about body language. I hope I display strong body language. I have them look for strong body language in adults, but also in kids as we watch many games, not just our teammates in our games and the other players and our own players and practices, but body language of every athlete that we see, kids, athletes. And then also, we talk about with professional sports, body language, body language, body language. There's a reason why I do that, why I think it's so important. We talk about it, we see it, we judge, we do a rating on a scale from 1 to 10. I have my kids be clairvoyant. What do you think he's feeling? Do you think he's confident? Right? What do you think he feels about himself? We are communicating with our bodies and teaching your kids how to read body language, probably make them safe, help them read people, but also it'll help them make sure they present themselves in a powerful, confident manner when it's needed, right? And it goes beyond that, right? But let me tell you my story. So, growing up, I played sports. I mean, I didn't think about, am I confident? I'm not confident. I didn't think about body language. Nobody explained that to me. It was really that just something that if the kid was good, teammate, opponent, whoever, they were good. I guess we just put it all in the package of body language. I mean, I guess every once in a while I might have said, wow, that kid's pretty good. You never know it the way he carries himself. But I don't really remember too many instances of that either, right? But so didn't really focus on it. I mean, I guess I was fine, right? I had leadership positions with my jobs ever since I was very young. I guess, at that time they emphasized leadership. Didn't really talk about body language, leading, your employees, making sure they're happy, making sure they're accountable, leadership, lead by, example. But I don't think they really broke it down into body language, that part. It wasn't until, I started really diving into personal development that it came up to talk about body language. But don't really think it really made an impact on me until after my 15 year of competitive bodybuilding. where I quit my job. I basically went to the gym, did not talk, right? Came home, worked on the internet most of that time, right? So I didn't go into an office where I had to worry about those things. And I was focused, right? Pretty much all year long. So, I do remember when I was, and this kind of started, my breaking this down is, so like, the I was not, even though I lived locally, I wasn't really a local guy. I would get on an airplane every other weekend or something, and appearances and things like that. I wasn't really part of the community. I didn't grow up around where I live. But I remember when the cool guys, because they knew me from the muscle magazines and things like that, and so they wanted me to go out. And I was a little bit older than those guys. I don't know, maybe 10 years old or whatever. So probably feeling a little conscious being old. I didn't go to clubs and things like that, and but I just remember that transition after all those years of being some hermit who just focused on bodybuilding, didn't get out and socialize, didn't want to get out and socialize. I just remember being in clubs where I just was so uncomfortable. All right, I was never really experienced that, and I could tell they're going, "Wow, you're Skip LaCour, the bodybuilder, right?" In the magazines, we're having to hear. They didn't say this, of course, but you're the man in the magazines. We want to come out, and boy, you're pretty stiff and kind of nerdy. Now they didn't say that, but that's how I felt. And one guy was really cool, and he realized that maybe my body language, if or my confidence in that situation didn't match the magazines or whatever. And he said, you should really have some fun here. Whatever. Like, he was kind of looking out for me. That kind of started, like, I'm going, man, my reputation. And then I went on the road with motivational speaker, being his right man, helping learning the business. And so, he'd pump me up with all my, credentials, and I just felt so just like a fish out of water, right? Like I didn't match what they thought of me, but I was confident in what I was doing, but it just didn't match. There was a disconnect because I really, in my adult life, had never been in those situations, right? So I said, I'm going to do something about it. So I kind of had a big void from all that focus on bodybuilding. Then when I stopped, I'm used to digging in and being addicted to something and improvement, whether it's through working out, but I didn't have that. I was done with the whole bodybuilding thing, but I still worked out, right? But at that level. And so I put my attention and focuses, and I created this manformation course, right? Where step by step, from body language, mindset, influence, persuasion, how to carry yourself strong. Because I went to work. I said, look, I got to study this. And I became obsessed with it for years. Like I said, enough to create, that whole course that, men invested all over the world. It led to coaching. I wanted to know more about this whole manformation, and body language is a big part of it. So I didn't just break down and read about it, right? All the books on body language and everything. I mean, I became obsessed with it, that I carry the body language, reading people's body, the rate. Even in that program, that manformation program, I give it away for free on my bodybuilding check. But Skip LaCour manformation, I sold hundreds and hundreds of those over the internet over the last, 15 years, right? I give it out for free now. And I break it down. I break down the body language after, knowing it's important. I went out there, and I was single, and I worked on body language and the reaction and everything. It's powerful, right? Even invented a game in one of my courses called, Rate the Alpha, right? It's because it's leadership, alpha male, manformation, whatever, right? And so part of the exercise to understand the importance of body language and be more conscious of how you're carrying yourself, how you're communicating the world non-verbally. There was a game that I invented that, when you're in a mall, people go to malls anymore, and rate the alpha. How's that guy carrying himself? What is he thinking? Just rate a number 1 to 10. Now we have no idea, but you become understanding more how this process works. All right, so that's how I became so focused on it. So when I had my kids, they were 5 to 8, I started talking about it very early. Now, let me tell you something about the body, right? Whether we realize in our thoughts, we will communicate it with our bodies. Now, some people not be tuned into what you're actually trying to say. You may not know it, but you are speaking. Your thoughts are creating body language. All right. Here's an interesting thing. After a while, when you're uncertain or sad, over so many years, you'll develop a body language. So if you go into that body language, your brain will access sad thoughts and you'll be thinking while you're down. So it's just not the mind and your thoughts and what you believe about yourself and the situation, the pressure, if you can come through or whatever. That doesn't, not only, does that come out in your body language programs your mind how to think and what to access, because we're not 100% certain that we're going to come through as adults. Of course, kids aren't going to be 100% certain, but we've all seen them on that roll. Wow, that kid's on a roll. And you could see he's just enjoying it. So was his body telling his mind that he's that good, or did his body tell his mind, or his mind tell his body? But you could tell when it's totally congruent, it all flows. That's how important body language. But you can learn what to do. So you can program yourself. You can sell yourself on the way to act with your body language. Right? So, you're probably 18 steps ahead of me in how important it is as we, teach our kids sports, as we practice with them, as we give them those reps, as we make sure those are quality reps, how they show up to our practices in our backyard, how they show up to their practices on a team, how they show up to their games. I can tell my kids' emotional state as they walk onto the court. I can tell as it's leading up. I make sure they don't waste any of their energy fighting over stupid things, thinking about things, right? Wasting energy before the game, taking them out of that mental state. I can tell by their body language where they are. Now they can reverse it like a good couple plays, or they can be really into it and have a bad couple plays, and the game isn't over, just how you show up. You know how it is. But I make them very conscious of their mindset and I have at a young age in body language. And we play that game. We've we're into sports, obviously, and we'll talk about the top players or in between. Hey, what do you think about his or her body language? And they'll have an opinion. At this age, we've been, talking about it, making sure they do it at practice. They're not up for it. I said, why am I wasting my time? Why are you reacting to my coaching like that? Oh, I'm not. I go, I can tell it in your body language. All right. I even have this. If you go to Coach Your Kids, right, YouTube page, I pull out, I bet there's 3 little shorts, reels, short videos that I pulled off the internet, where the college coaches talk all about body language. It tells them everything. They want to see your body language, not when you're doing well. They're looking at you, and again, this is too young, but, set up the conversation and the habits now, is they want to see how you act when you fail, when things aren't going your way. What kind of body language do you have? And I prepare my kids. We do a little drill that how to run off the field when you strike out. Not to mention how you react, how your body language, right? And how to run out to the field. And I make them run back for you running out to the field. All right, at the beginning of the game, they call you out there or whatever, right? How you enter the court, how you enter the field. We practice it. What are you thinking of? How are you running? Being conscious of their body language. I give them a bat, and I said, okay, you just got to call third strike. How are you going to come back to the dugout? Do you go, oh, shoot? No. They hold the bat a certain way. They put their chest out. They look ahead. They don't cry. They don't show everybody, oh, can you believe me? Of all people, I struck out, right? So they certainly don't show displeasure and show up the umpire. They run. They don't walk. They run with their chin up, their head up, with the I'll get it next time, right? I'm programming for failure and how they would use that body language. Now, again, how well they do, but they're conscious of it. Body language is that important. I think I can give you a lot more examples and a lot of the things that I do and how I came up with this, but you see it all the time. Start looking at the body language of the kids. How does yours measure? And we'll probably talk about this more, how you can go on a journey. Because remember, is the mindset or lack thereof that creates the body language, whether it's strong, whether it's weak, or something in between, or it's the body language after a while that creates the thoughts. They go back and forth. All right, so that's going to do it for this Coach Your Kids Right podcast. Again, leave your comments. I love the likes, the shares as we build our network. If you have any questions, reach out. If you're interested in one-on-one coaching, you want to speed up this process, you like these podcasts, but hey, man, my kid's 5 right now. I want to talk to Skip. I want to get the big picture of all these things. Yeah, I help men and women, parents just like you, go through the process so you know what to prepare for. So not only make you aware of what's ahead, right? Because I know your first time around, it's daunting, it's intimidating to not the unexpected. But not only tell you what the unexpected, but give you some strategies to think about now as you go through this critical age of 5 to 8. So reach out to me for one-on-one coaching. The way to get a hold of me is in the description of this podcast. All right. School, sports, and mindset is what leads all this. Confidence to become your best. Your kids become their best on and off the playing field. All right. Take on the day. Here we go. Thank you so much for joining me.